Hi everyone, welcome to Cooking with Chef Rich. Today we're going to be making chocolate truffles. Truffles are one of my favorite things to make. It's funny, as a chef, whenever I meet somebody new, they always ask me a lot of questions about being a chef. And one of the questions is, what do you like to cook? And one of the things that I've always enjoyed is making truffles. I truly believe that everybody should make truffles at least once in their life. I also make probably the world's richest milk chocolate truffles. So if you've ever had them, then you know what I'm talking about. If you've never had them, then please try this recipe. It's a really great recipe. We'll jump right in. So over here, I have 1 pound of Callebaut milk chocolate. I have 1 stick of unsalted butter, 2 tablespoons of light corn syrup, and 1 cup of heavy cream. So truffles are made in 3 different sections, if you will. Each section only takes this section takes about 3 to 5 minutes. The next one will take about 10 minutes, and the one after that will take 15 minutes. But it actually takes at least a full day, sometimes even 2 days, start to finish, because each section has to set. So basically, I put my heavy cream in here. We're gonna bring this up to a simmer, and once it comes up to a simmer, I'll show you what to do next. See you shortly. So our cream is just coming up to a boil. One thing that you do have to be aware of is that cream will boil over. So if you're not watching it, if you walk away and it comes up to a boil, it will actually boil over and really make a big mess of your stove. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our chocolate and just drop it in. And I generally just let it sit for like half a minute. What that does is it kind of helps get the melting process. What we're making is something called a ganache. Very, very common in cooking. There's a lot of different purposes of different ganaches. Sometimes cakes are covered with a ganache. You can make a chocolate whipped cream out of a ganache. When I start doing some cakes, you'll see ganaches being made. So this is what they call a hard ganache, which is used for truffles. We're gonna just stir this in. You'll see that the chocolate's melting. You don't want to stir it too fast because you don't want the hot cream jumping up and burning you. It is boiling hot cream. You notice that this is nice and melted. It melts rather quickly. Now we're going to add our butter. This is unsalted butter I'm using. We're going to stir this in. Once again, I'll just actually let this sit and it'll kind of start to melt before I start to stir. So I'm just going to let that sit for a few seconds. So my butter's been sitting in there, and I'm just going to keep stirring this until the butter all melts. Now, one thing that's really important, sometimes if this gets too cool, like if you add too much chocolate, you can actually put it back on the stove. I like low to medium. You do have to continually stir it or the chocolate will burn. Okay, once all the butter's melted, we're going to take this back off. And the last thing we're going to add to here is our corn syrup. We're just going to stir that in. If you like milk chocolate truffles, this is really a great recipe. Once this is totally stirred in and you see no clumps of butter or chocolate and the syrup's in, then we're I try to get everything because even a small amount can be 1 truffle. Out of this, I'm probably gonna guess about 40, maybe 50 truffles. So what we're gonna do with this is, once this cools a little bit, I'm gonna leave it out for about 15 minutes. Then I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator and it has to set. It'll take anywhere between 5 and 8 hours to set, I'm guessing. And that is just a guess, but it has to be perfectly set to make a truffle out of it. So I'll see you in 5 to 8 hours. Our hard ganache has been, I cooled it down, I put it in the refrigerator for a little while, and then I actually stuck it in the freezer so it got really solid. If you press on it, it has to be solid. If you can put your finger through it, it's not gonna work. So it has to be really cold for this to work. This is a scoop. I'm actually gonna do, my normal size truffle is this size. I'm gonna do some babies just to see what they look like. I think they'll be cute. When you do this, very, very simple. I just took this off the stove. It was boiling water. Just put this up and make a ball. You're gonna have to do this every single time. Now, the next one, go right up against it, just so you kind of maximize the amount of truffles you get. Just keep scooping, go all along. And for this one, I should get probably about 2 rows, I'm guessing. I'm probably gonna get about between 40 and 50 truffles in the end. But basically, you're gonna keep doing this. Once these are all scooped, the next thing you're gonna do is you're just gonna roll this into a nice ball. Doesn't have to be perfect, but the best you can do. Basically, if you look at that, it's all like, so by rolling it, you get into a nice ball. And then when we dip it in chocolate, it'll be nice and round, like a truffle. So anyway, I'll see you in a little while. So earlier today, I made truffles. I rolled them, and once they're done once I'm done rolling them, what I did is I put them in the freezer. Once they're frozen, you can take them out, and they're not really frozen. They're not hard like a rock, but they're cold. So you can put them in a container, like so. And now we're ready to dip them. So this chocolate is tempered at this point. We just tempered it with a fork and knife, which is probably the easiest way. And I'm just gonna cover it with chocolate. Now there's a couple things with making truffles, okay? So right now they're in this container. The recipe that I'm giving you yields approximately 50 truffles, which is a lot of truffles. The good part about this, if you dip them too far in advance, eventually the chocolate will lose its temper and you'll get that white, those white streaks that I was talking about. You can take this, freeze it just like this, make sure you double wrap it, and this will stay in your freezer for a month and a half, 2 months, and you can dip truffles, fresh truffles, whenever you want. Just melt some chocolate, temper it, and you have fresh truffles. So you can make the balls in advance, and whenever you're ready, you just dip them, which I do all the time as a caterer. I literally make 200-300 truffles at a time, freeze them, and when I'm ready to dip them, I dip them and I have a nice fresh truffle. While I'm dipping these, I actually need some white chocolate to garnish this with. So I'm going to start tempering my white chocolate. I have that over here. Could also do some baby truffles. You do want to work with the tempered chocolate quickly, because once it gets too cold, like mind you, you're dipping cold truffles in it, so it gets cold, it will lose its temper. So you do want to definitely work with it relatively quickly. The other thing is, I've seen people try to drop a bunch of chocolates in there to save time. What that does is it cools down your chocolate very, very quickly and it loses its temper. So I don't recommend doing that. Once you drop the truffle in the chocolate, you want to get it out as quick as possible. I'm just going to give this a quick mix. So our milk chocolate truffles were in the refrigerator for just 10 minutes, long enough to harden. You notice that they're nice and shiny. Now I tempered some white chocolate. I'm going to take these 3 fingers and just go back and forth to decorate them. The other thing is, when you dip truffles, sometimes there's some slight imperfections. If you look like right over here, there's like a slight imperfection. By putting the white chocolate stripes over it, it's kind of going to cover it up and nobody's going to notice it. So, one, it makes the truffles look pretty, but it also has another purpose. Good. I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator, and I'll show you what it looks like in a little while. So our milk chocolate truffles, our coconut truffles, and our chocolate almond pyramids are now finished, and I put them on a plate for you to see. Something about the truffles, occasionally, because of how we dip them, it has something called legs. So if you just take a knife and just cut it off, there's another one. You can just take a knife and just give it a little chop, and it gets them nice and clean. So I just wanted to show you that. The truffles taste amazing. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Leave your comments below. Have a great day. Be safe.